Hello. Welcome to our session on crossing the chasm from conception to early majority on the New York Times developer platform. My name is David Grisanti. I'm a principal engineer at the Times, and today I'm going to be talking with my colleague Danny Cassidy, who is a senior product manager also at the Times. I'm going to cover the first half of the presentation, then I'll hand it over to Danny to take it over for the second half. So first, I want to start a little bit about telling you about the New York Times. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of us, and our mission is simple. We seek the truth and help people understand the world. And we're doing that by aiming to build the essential subscription bundle for every curious person who seeks to understand and engage with the world. And you're probably all familiar with New York Times and the New York Times journalism, but given that that's our most recognizable product, but we also have a lot of other products that are very popular. We have a lot of games, crossword, spelling bee, Wordle, connections, cooking for inspiring and amazing recipes, and other websites like Wirecutter and The Athletic for sports journalism. And we have a great audio app now as well, which features podcasts and audio recordings of journals and stories. But to get on the same page about our developer platform, I want to make a couple of distinctions before we go forward. So first, when I say platform team, what I'm referring to is the delivery engineering team, and that's really the team or the organization that myself and Danny work in. And we're responsible for building and operating platform tools and providing infrastructure support. And when I talk about teams, I really need product engineering teams. These are engineering teams across the company who are building applications and products, which I mentioned in the previous slide. So here's a quick rundown of what we're going to go over today. We're going to talk about our developer platform, architecture and onboarding to the platform. Then I may hand it off to Danny to talk about platform as product, how we're building trust and platform in our platform and reliability, and then wrap it up with some lessons learned. So let's start with our developer journey. When we talk about developers, they have a journey just like a customer journey. Here I've identified a few steps that a lot of developers go through when they're starting to get their business requirements until they deliver their applications. And if we look at the items highlighted in yellow, here's the areas where I think delivery engineering can help and our platform can help. Each step in the process may look unique. However, there are similarities that we can get in common between different journeys and make the developer experience seamless and much easier. So the goal here is to seamlessly help our engineers deliver their products to subscribers. And we designed the platform in a few verticals. So from an engineer's perspective, first, they want to create or onboard an application. This helps them template all the resources needed to provide our engineers with source code repository, CI/CD pipelines, and onboarding to the platform. And that starts with source control. Next, we talk about building and deploying our applications with centralized CI/CD pipelines, a place to run the application, which is our managed Kubernetes cluster, and manage resources in the cloud. And then lastly, routing for shared ingress model that supports different capabilities and routing options. And then running across all of this is an observability layer to help teams monitor their application with telemetry collection, with traces and metrics. And this is really the end-to-end journey that we've created for teams. So let's talk a little bit about the architecture and onboarding of the platform. So from the platform runtime perspective, we experimented with different setups for our cloud accounts in order to build our developer platform and runtime. And we chose to work with a multi-account architecture because it allows us to group workloads with common business purposes and distinct accounts, promote innovation and agility by providing teams with separate accounts for experimentation and development. It limits the scope of impact from adverse events, achieves resource independence and isolation, and helps us manage costs using different accounts for different business units and groups of workloads for easy cost reporting, control, forecast, and budgeting. The next step was really when it comes to building the Kubernetes cluster. And there's often this dilemma about whether to create and manage single tenant clusters, multiple single tenant clusters, or to opt for a single multi-tenant cluster. And the question here is how to strike a balance between each. On one hand, having separate clusters for each team can provide more control and isolation. However, on the other hand, opting for multi-tenant clusters can offer greater resource utilization, simplified management, and more agility in terms of deploying applications. And ultimately, the decision to choose between single tenant clusters or multi-tenant clusters depends on various factors within your organization. For us, some of our design considerations were items like network isolation, role-based access control, operational agility, policy-driven security, and resource management. And when we took all these into account, we decided to go with multi-tenant clusters were the best fit for our needs. So we recognize that this approach can help us achieve our goals while also minimizing operational overheads. And to support our approach, we created unique runtime environments that could be distributed across multiple regions to ensure failover and disaster recovery capabilities. Additionally, we connected these clusters to teams' cloud accounts, allowing them to expand using their own resources as necessary. Next, I want to talk about the application templating piece, and this is really gets to the onboarding idea for teams and simplifying that. So the idea is that as an engineer, you want to come to our platform and get a fully functional service running in production in under 10 minutes. And to do that, we really have this template engine that we built that has a bunch of capabilities included. And those are items such as source code control, setup, a starter kit, observability tooling, secrets integration, containerization, a build, test, and deploy pipeline, Kubernetes manifest, and routing configuration. And then from the user's perspective, all you have to provide is your app, logic, and if web service configuration and business logic that you would write into your software. And the way that this template engine works is it has this workflow. So you start with, the team starts, they fill out a form that enters some information in Git, which kicks off a drone pipeline, which we use for orchestration. That will create the underlying application repo in Git, Vault for secrets, and we use Argo for deployment to our runtime cluster in Kubernetes. And this idea that we're trying to encapsulate with continuous delivery is a focus on GitOps delivery to Kubernetes. So we centralize our CD software delivery platform, which paves the way for advanced deployment capabilities like blue-green or canary deployments, and provides teams more confidence to deliver more efficiently. So we offer predefined workflows, templates, and best practices, and it allows teams to adopt common workflows and align with the dev cycle. So next, I'm going to pass it off to Danny to talk about platform as product.
Thank you, David. Hi, everyone. I'm Danny Cassidy, a senior product manager at the New York Times, where I work on building and scaling our internal developer platform. First, I want to talk about platform as a product. I really appreciate this quote from ThoughtWorks 2021 Technology Radar. We continue to see platform engineering product teams as a sensible default, with the key insight being that they're just another product team, albeit one focused on internal platform customers. And I appreciate this quote because it shows platform as a product is really nothing out of the ordinary. It's all about incorporating standard product management methodologies and practices into platform engineering. And if you're not familiar with product management, this diagram shows how product lies at the intersection of technology, user needs, and business. And to make this all a little bit more concrete, I'm going to walk through our own journey of building and scaling our internal developer platform at the New York Times and how we incorporated some product management practices into our journey. Starting with discovery and mapping the opportunity space for us. We conducted user discovery across our entire tech org with the goal of understanding their current needs and pain points. We then synthesized that feedback to understand where platform centralization could help drive our customer needs and deliver business value. And this diagram is illustrative of our synthesis across all of the domains of our infrastructure teams: CI/CD, observability, traffic and routing, runtime, and reliability. It's important to note that we did see discrepancies in this round of user research, and those discrepancies signaled that we were dealing with multiple personas, all who had different levels of expertise around infrastructure, different needs because their systems they were maintaining were different. And it's important to understand these personas as early on as possible because they can help make better trade-off decisions when you're deciding on where to invest in your platform. Once we finished our user discovery, our next goal was launching the MVP of our platform. We decided to launch our MVP during our Maker Week, which is our week-long annual hackathon at the New York Times. This allowed us to scope the thinnest slice of value of our platform to our customers in our lowest stake environment, while still validating our North Star value proposition of helping engineers iterate on their ideas on day zero without worrying about infrastructure. After our successful MVP, our next milestone was general availability, where we learned General availability is not just about maturing your technology and capabilities, but also about maturing your processes around iterating on your platform. I want to quickly discuss this theory called the diffusion of innovation theory, which explains how new ideas or technologies spread or diffuse across a social organization. And I found that this model was really helpful in our early phase of scaling out our platform. It was really important for us to find the teams that were enthusiastic about our offering, about adopting new technology, so that we could build a coalition of engaged team members who could help us in the early phases of the platform. So once we found those few teams that were excited about our offering, we had to figure out how can we make our platform as compelling as possible. In many ways, our internal developer platform was competing with serverless, no YAML required runtimes offered by cloud providers. So we had to spend a lot of time thinking, what value could we offer that our users can't easily find elsewhere? And for us, a big carrot in these early adoption phase was dynamic preview environments, which allowed engineers to get quick feedback on their code changes without going through the formal release process, which was really great in increasing the velocity of how engineers work day to day. Another area that we improved was around feedback gathering and synthesis. As our platform supported more users, we had to figure out how to manage the sprawl of feedback we were hearing. We were listening to our users through various channels, Slack, GitHub, Hangouts, etc., and that was great. But the ways we collected and reasoned together about that feedback was very fragmented and very opaque. So we decided to come up with a core set of principles around feedback. That one, it should be centralized in a standardized way. Two, it should be transparent for everyone working on the platform team. And three, it should be actionable via synthesis. And the core artifact that we decided to adopt is called a rainbow spreadsheet. And a rainbow spreadsheet is very popular in the world of UX. I have a pull quote from the Nielsen Norman Group here. It's a simple method for visually identifying strong versus weak themes in qualitative data from user research by placing individual observations in a spreadsheet and color coding them. And this is really great because you get a sort of quantitative view of qualitative data through the color coding, which kind of acts as a heat map to see where the strongest pieces of feedback are for you to address. Lastly, in our phase of working towards GA, we introduced a capability maturity model, which is heavily inspired by Google's maturity model. It's a way for us to describe how capabilities evolve from original POC demo all the way to general availability. And this is really great because it sets clear expectations for our users on the level of support, self-service, risk that they would adopt based on the phase of where the capability is. And it also was great for us as platform teams because it really made sure we were thinking about thin, narrow slices of value and being sure to get feedback along the way. So if we demoed a capability at POC and we saw it wasn't delivering the way we thought it would, that's okay. We would abandon the idea and go to something next, which is a cornerstone of lean product development. Next, I want to talk about where we are now, scaling out our platform to the majority of our users and introduce the notion of crossing the chasm. So like I said, today we are at the place where we're looking to get our platform adopted by the majority of our users in our technical organization. I want to go back to the diffusion of innovation theory and introduce a new concept called the chasm, which describes that moment where you've went through all of the excited, enthusiastic teams who have a high propensity to adopt your platform. And what's left are the pool of users who are pretty passive in adopting new things or actually resistant to adopting new things. So what do you do about that? From our experience, a shift in the mindset of our prospective users should equal a shift in how we communicate value. So as a platform team, it becomes less about offering new carrots and thinking about how you can scale confidence and trust in the platform. And also in terms of marketing, how you can continually articulate user success stories, thinking about how you can invest more in operational excellence and quality of your platform. And we found that this became a more suitable driver to get the more passive pool of users excited about adopting your platform. So, in summary, lessons learned. You should be thinking about the business and culture when you're making these early foundational architectural decisions of your platform. Platform as a product is nothing out of the ordinary. It's just putting your users and your business first. And the idea of the chasm. What do you do when you've exhausted all the excited folks in your tech org and need to understand how you can get the more passive folks excited and onto your platform? Thank you, everyone.